Hello, my name is Yesenia and welcome to my presentation. Today my presentation will be on income and wealth inequality. I'd like to begin by introducing you all to Inequality.org, which is a non-biased charity that has multiple sources of articles, events, charities, programs, etc. that help inequality all over America and in many different fields. And so I want you all to know that by donating to Inequality.org, you can also help distribute awareness, helping locals near you and support a non-biased charity. So now I'm going to ask you guys all a question, and I want you to really think about this throughout the presentation. Do you think society will conform when inequality starts to keep the poor from living good lives? In the past 20 years, the average income has fallen, yet the richest have gotten richer. Now, that doesn't even make sense. The richer have gotten richer, but the poor have yet to... Right, okay. Well, I'm here to spread awareness on the income and wealth inequality in America and how we can be part of the change. Today, I will talk about Inequality.org, an organization that helps advocate and educate for the homeless, helpless, and about 70% of American citizens that are affected by minimum wage. I hope to define into depth the meaning of wealth and income, the effects of inequality, and what you can do to be part of the help. It's almost baffling how getting paid $10 an hour is supposed to be life substantial. $10 an hour is absolutely nothing. I still don't know how minimum wage has not been pushed even more, and how there's not even a bar for how low you can charge somebody for spending approximately 40 hours per week to work and still not be able to pay. You know, this is what people think that people can live off of. Like, that's like the average American works 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, the graveyard shift, or 6 days a week, and that's not even including if they're working 2 jobs, because working 1 job isn't cutting it for them. It's barely making ends meet. In order to understand, we can simply look back at the beginning of capitalism and how it all ties in. It all ties in because it all has to do with wealth and income, the effects on individuals, and I'm also just going to tell you a little bit about how we can make the change too. But again, the beginning of capitalism is really where it all began. There was alienation, the blue collar, the white collar. School was originally made just for factory workers to get basic education so they were able to operate these things that they were being made to do at work. Therefore, you're already being constructed and programmed to work in this routine, which is school, waking up early, being there for 7 hours, 8 hours, and working off bells, knowing when to eat, knowing when to stop, knowing to have breaks. What does that sound like? Yeah, a factory job. 9 to 5. School is literally built to make you a factory worker. Like, it's... The education system lacks in so many ways. Also, it's... Okay, moving on before I just start going off about everything. But now that that's covered, let's move on to the money part. What does America revolve around? Money. Income and wealth are easy to confuse but are very different. According to Sociology in Our Times by Diana Kendall, wealth is individuals or families' value, accumulated assets, stocks, minus liabilities compared to income, which is economic gain derived from wage or salaries. Inequality exists in almost every system, but it's pretty embarrassing how much America doesn't care for its poor. It's always been clear who the focus and the lens is on when it's only been the rich. And that's honestly very true. I mean, it's easy to have money and really get things done, especially if you're working with like not evil money, but like if you're working with bad people, it's easy to not necessarily manipulate, but to just make ends meet easier when you're working with bad people who you can support and will do things for you because you want them done. But you know, a lot of the rich just focus on the rich, because what do the poor have to offer? Just their voices, and the rich, money. Next, I'd like to speak on the effects of income and wealth. According to Inequality Today also, the United States exhibits wider disparities of wealth between rich and poor than any other major developed nation. It's obvious to look around Grand Rapids, for example, and see how much homeless people there is compared to the recent years. It's pretty sad to look at downtown and see how much it's changed and how much poverty there is downtown, and how the opioid crisis and just, you know, people not being able to work and just so many reasons. But it's tremendous. It's so sad. The lack of support financially is transparent with recent recordings also. Since the pandemic, according to inequality.org, the percentage of Black people in poverty and Hispanic people in poverty percent are about twice as high as white people. Black and Hispanic people were more than likely than white people to lose their jobs during the pandemic and have been less likely to regain their jobs if lost. Lastly, how can we help the change in inequality? It's hard to continuously spread awareness about things we care about and not laws or things being done or anything being made. But what can we do is trust organizations that are spreading awareness, making events, and holding people accountable and speaking on what needs to be changed. Inequality.org reports the inequality in multiple areas that are in the United States, in that what is most lacked in. To touch back on what I mentioned earlier, America was what? Built on capitalism. It wants people to do the work for them, even if it leaves them on their back. And you know that's right, because people work like teachers alone. Like during this pandemic, I'm literally like, how are teachers and nurses and doctors, like, therefore again, how do you think society will conform when inequality starts to keep the poor from good lives? It's time to be a part of the change and enforce the change. And in conclusion, I'm in hopes that you all realize that inequality is distributed in all of our personal lives. And I hope that you were all educated on the terms, effects, and change that can be made. By donating to inequality.org, you can help distribute awareness, helping locals near you, and support a non-biased charity. Change can only be made with change. Thank you.